Episode 42, Where Did I Flirt? I have feelings for him. The remote control slipped from Ning Xuelua's hand and fell to the ground. Her face turned pale, contorted in a grimace. The worst-case scenario she had anticipated was merely to let Ning Xi clear her name. However, she never expected the other party to have such crucial evidence, completely exposing all her secrets. Could it be the person who sent the anonymous email double-crossed her? Extorting 8 million from her first, then selling the evidence to Shengshi? On the TV, reporters were asking Ning Xi, "From what I know, you and Ning Xuelua have a good relationship. What was her motive for doing this? Do you have any grievances between you?" Ning Xuelua's hands shook as she quickly turned off the TV, tossed the remote away, and then hugged Su Yan next to her. "Brother Yan, please listen to my explanation." After hugging Su Yan, she realized that he was trembling all over. He tightly clenched his fists, making a grating sound. His usually gentle and calm face now looked extremely unpleasant. She had never seen him look so frightening. A tremendous sense of fear surged in Ning Xuelua's heart. Unable to control herself, she hugged Su Yan even tighter, urgently explaining, "Brother Yan, it's not me. It really isn't me. I had no idea at all. I don't know why Kaijing would do such a thing. Maybe because I scolded her a few times when I was stressed, and she held a grudge against me? But, Brother Yan, if she just wanted to harm me, why frame Zhang Chang and implicate Ning Xi? What does she gain from that?" Su Yan allowed her to hug him, not moving at all. There was no warmth in his tone. If Cui Kaijing just wanted to harm you, why would she make Zhang Chang frame Ning Xi? What benefit does she get from that? Ning Xuelua's expression stiffened for a moment. She quickly spoke. She must have wanted to find a scapegoat to avoid being discovered. "She has always been by my side, knowing that Ning Xi treats me poorly in private. If she shifts the blame to Ning Xi, I would never suspect her. That reasoning is barely passable. What about your injuries?" Su Yan continued to question. Ning Xuelua, who had calmed down a bit, explained with a somewhat cold expression, "I initially said I was fine. It was my parents who were overly worried about me, so they kept me in the hospital for recuperation. Brother Yan, you know, during that time, I was really exhausted, and my body felt terrible every day. How could they accuse me like this?" Su Yan, shocked to the point of almost numbness, showed a deeply painful expression. "Xuelua? Can I still trust you?" Tears streaked down Ning Xuelua's face as she tightly held his hand, looking at him as if he were her only salvation. "Brother Yan, believe me. Please believe me. Everyone outside is probably accusing and suspecting me. If even you don't believe me, I don't know if I have the courage to continue. Others might not understand and might doubt me, but surely you understand me? Do you think I would do such a thing to Ning Xi? Brother Yan, I beg you. Please don't abandon me, too." Su Yan's expression was blank and absent-minded, and he finally took a deep breath. Then, he slowly pushed her arms away and staggered to his feet, heading toward the door. Ning Xuelua panicked and followed him. "Brother Yan, where are you going? Don't follow me. Let me be alone for a while." With a loud bang, Su Yan closed the door heavily. Inside the room, Ning Xuelua's face darkened, and she quickly picked up her phone to call Chongli. Su Yan ran down the stairs in a daze, driving aimlessly through the bustling streets. His mind was filled with images of that day when Ning Xi covered Ning Xuelua's wound and called for help, but he rudely pushed her away. Images of her facing accusations from Uncle Ning and Aunt Ning in the hospital, her eyes full of sadness and hurt, yet stubbornly refusing to bow her head. Images of all the hurtful words and accusations he sent her through texts. After the incident, he never even considered giving her a moment to explain. Despite claiming that he would treat her like a sister even after breaking up, he consistently did things that hurt her. Ning Xuelua had her family, her parents who loved her, a company, and fans. But what about her? She was condemned by the world, carrying the weight of everyone's blame, enduring all the unjust grievances. In the end, it was not those who claimed to care for her who stood up for justice but strangers who didn't know her. Through the car window, he saw the LED screen outside the shopping mall. Ning Xi's expression was serious as she answered the reporters one by one. "I want to work hard, earn more money for my boss, repay his kindness, and prove that he did not choose the wrong person." He knew this wasn't an official response, it was her true feelings. She was that kind of person, willing to give her all if someone treated her even a little bit well. He always thought it was her who changed, but in reality, the one who changed was himself. His mind kept replaying the scene of her walking out of the hospital door alone after that day, thinking about her frail and helpless figure. His heart felt like it was being twisted with a knife. In the evening, Vivi Bar. The bar wasn't large, and its location was somewhat remote. However, it had a stylish atmosphere and was owned by a veteran in the entertainment industry. It was a place often frequented by people in the industry for relaxation and gatherings due to its excellent privacy. When Ningxi arrived at the private room, Jiong Mai was already there, sitting with his legs crossed on the sofa. The coffee table was already cluttered with several empty bottles. Ningxi removed her mask and sunglasses. Hey, couldn't you wait for me to drink together? Jiong Mai sneered and cut her off. Didn't you say you were quitting drinking? If you're not drinking, then it's just me drinking alone. Ningxi shrugged. Fine, forget I said anything. You go ahead and drink. Can I get some juice, though? What juice? This is a bar, where would they have juice? Jiong Mai replied irritably. So, Ningxi pressed the call button, and a handsome waiter walked in, smiling. Miss, what can I do for you? Ningxi took out a large bill and stuffed it into his pocket, winking. Hey handsome, could you go buy 2 bottles of juice for me? The waiter was stunned for a moment, blushing slightly. Then, he smiled and said, I'll be happy to serve you. Jiong Mai stared at Ningxi in disbelief. Ningxi, can you be more low-key? Why are you flirting with everyone you see? Ningxi kicked him. Mind your own business. Where did I flirt? Jiong Mai patted the dust off his pants. Stop changing the subject. Get to the point. Rolling her eyes at him, Ningxi leaned back on the sofa, sighing deeply. The exhaustion she had concealed all day finally poured out from her every pore. Jiong Mai, seeing her in this state, asked somewhat awkwardly, why are you so tired? Wasn't today's press conference smooth? Everything had been arranged properly by someone. It's all because of you. Mentally exhausted. Ningxi's face was full of irritation. Then, she suddenly sat up, her gaze burning as she stared at him. I need to ask you something. That day, did Lu Tingxiao really kiss me? Jiong Mai downed his drink in one go. If I lie to you, I'll burn all my gear with fire, and I won't play games again after tonight. Ningxi nodded. Alright, I believe you. That oath was vicious enough. Finally unable to hold back, Jiong Mai cursed, I've reminded you how many times. But you just wouldn't listen. Why don't you just be stupid to death? How long have we known each other? How long have you known Lu Tingxiao? You believe him and not me? Seeing Jiong Mai's hurt expression, Ningxi sighed. In fact, since the first time I met Lu Tingxiao, he told me. What did he say? Jiong Mai's expression tightened. Ningxi spread her hands. He said he wanted to marry me. Pfft. What did you say? Jiong Mai nearly choked on his drink, coughing violently. Ningxi patted his back forcefully. You were shocked at my reaction back then. And then? Jiong Mai asked anxiously. Later, I naturally asked him why he wanted to marry me. It was just too illogical. Ningxi said. What did he say? He said I saved little treasure, so he wanted to repay me by offering himself to me. Damn. What did you say? I said I saved little treasure, and little treasure saved me too. We're even, there's no need for repayment. Then, I quickly ran away. Jiong Mai stood up and walked back and forth in the private room for more than 10 laps. I really want to strangle you. Lu Tingxiao clearly had ill intentions towards you from the beginning, and he even said it directly. Why didn't you keep your distance? Rolling her eyes at him, Ningxi retorted, please, can you reject someone with little treasure's face? Besides, I always thought that Lu Tingxiao said he wanted to marry me for little treasure's sake. After I rejected him, he didn't insist. What else could I do? What for little treasure? That's just hypocritical. And you're simply a pig. Jiong Mai finally stopped pacing and stared at her. Let me tell you, in a situation where a beautiful woman is saved by a hero, if the beauty isn't interested in the hero, she'll definitely say, thank you, hero, for saving me. This humble woman is willing to be your servant. Now, here's the problem, if the beauty is interested in the hero, how will she respond? Ning Xiao, please answer me. Ningxi touched her chin. The beauty would say, this humble woman is willing to offer herself? So, do you understand the meaning of the phrase, offering oneself, now? It means the hero likes you and is interested in you. Jiong Mai yelled into her ear. Ningxi tapped her ear, feeling a bit numb. That makes sense. Jiong Mai said, this is the truth. Ningxi patted her butt and stood up, then grabbed Jiong Mai's shoulder and made him sit back down on the sofa, telling him to calm down. Then, she calmly said, "Okay, since you've asked me, I'll ask you a question too." Jiong Mai looked at her warily. "What are you going to ask?" "I'll ask you this, if you walk into a room and see your crush taking an aphrodisiac, wearing a see-through nightgown, lying on a king-size bed covered in red rose petals, what would you do?" Jiong Mai was stunned for 3 seconds, then suddenly his ears turned as hot as fire. He pushed her away abruptly. "Ningxi, you're so dirty. Get lost. Stop pretending to be innocent. Give me a serious answer for the old lady." Ningxi scolded. "Why ask such a question?" Jiong Mai's eyes dodged. He didn't dare to say that Ningxi's previous statement was too vivid, and for a moment, he had imagined himself as. "Just answer me," Ningxi urged. After a long struggle, Jiong Mai finally reluctantly answered, "Well, of course, I'd go straight for it. Isn't that what a man should do? Otherwise, it means that the man either doesn't like the woman or is not interested in her." Hearing the expected response, Ningxi looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. "Why are you looking at me like that? Is there something wrong with what I said?" Jiong Mai was unnerved by her gaze. "You said it right. So, can you tell me why you asked such a question?" Resting her chin on her hand, Ningxi spoke with a somewhat absent-minded expression. "You know, when faced with such a situation, do you know how Lu Tingxiao handled it?" Jiong Mai's face immediately changed. Lu Tingxiao faced such a situation? What do you mean?" Ningxi briefly explained the cause and effect, then continued, "Later, Zhu Xiangqing tied me up and delivered me to Lu Tingxiao's bed." "How did Lu Tingxiao react?" Jiong Mai nervously asked, his voice even changing pitch. "He didn't do anything." Ningxi recalled that night. "He comforted me, told me not to be afraid, chatted with me to distract me, and never made any disturbing moves from beginning to end. He quietly accompanied me through the most helpless and difficult night of my life." After hearing this, Jiong Mai bit his lip, unable to say a word. Ningxi stared at him steadily. "What do you think Lu Tingxiao is like? Is he not a man? Or does he not like me?" "I'm sure he likes you." Jiong Mai clenched his fists tightly. And the way Lu Tingxiao handled it, he didn't find it unmanly at all. Instead, he thought it was too manly. If it were him, he definitely couldn't do it. Ningxi nodded. "Originally, I wasn't sure, and I didn't dare to be sure. Now, I'm also sure that he likes me. So, there's a third possibility." Jiong Mai immediately looked at her. "What?" "It's not because I'm stupid, but because his level is too high. I will have feelings for him. In fact, I don't blame myself, nor do I have any regrets." After saying this, a sense of compromise settled in the misty space between her eyebrows. Jiong Mai's voice trembled, almost unable to speak coherently. "You have feelings for him?" Ningxi smiled. "Although I don't want to admit it and have been avoiding it for so long, it is indeed a fact." Jiong Mai slammed his fist on the coffee table, his eyes bloodshot. "Ningxi, how much do you know about him? Do you know anything about him? Right now, you only see the side of him that he's putting on for you. Do you really think Lu Tingxiao is as gentle and gentlemanly as he seems on the surface? Do you know that Jia Qingqing died in the wilderness? Do you know the current fate of that fat pig Zhu Xiangqing? Do you know that he mobilized an aircraft to artificially induce rainfall just to ruin a kissing scene? Even my family had an accident. All of it was planned by him." Ningxi remained silent for a long time, then spoke gently, "But, Jiong Mai, he has never done anything to hurt me. If I avoid him and despise him because I'm afraid of those things, it's unfair to him. Whether I'm confused or ignorant, I only know that he has been very good to me, extremely good. No one has ever been so good to me." Jiong Mai looked completely dejected. Hoarsely, he asked, "Do you want to be with him? How is that possible?" Ningxi glanced at him. "I still have some self-awareness." Jiong Mai furrowed his brows. "That's not what I meant. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. I'm just saying that Lu Tingxiao is too scheming and dangerous. The environment of the Lu family is not suitable for you. Brother, thank you for thinking so highly of me. I know what I'm like. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing and what I should do." Ningxi interrupted him, her expression completely back to normal. Jiong Mai didn't feel happy when he heard her say this. Instead, he felt like there was a waterlogged sponge stuck in his chest, making it difficult to express. "What do you look like? You're seriously trying hard. On the surface, you seem carefree and heartless, but in reality, you're meticulous, with clear likes and dislikes. You deserve the best, the most suitable for you, Jiong Mai said, feeling a little choked. Ningxi was stunned for a moment, then looked surprised. Wow, golden retriever, I never thought that in your eyes, my image would be so towering. Could it be that you're in love with me? Jiong Mai's back instantly stiffened. Get lost. Haha. Ningxi laughed while holding her stomach for a while. Then she looked at him with a slightly dim expression. Jiong Mai, using your own words from before, how much do you really understand me? Do you know much about me? Right now, you only see the side of me that I allow you to see. Do you really think I'm completely like what I've shown? In that moment when Ningxi looked at him, Jiong Mai almost thought that she had seen through his innermost thoughts. He thought she said those words on purpose to remind him to give up. At the Lu residence, Lu Tingxiao sat on the living room sofa, flipping through a Benedict book with concentration. On the other hand, Lu Jingli, like he had grown a needle on his butt, wandered around the house all night without stopping for a moment. Brother, tonight, Ningxi is meeting Jiong Mai. Don't you want to know what they talked about? I have a premonition. The content must be explosive. And it's crucial for you, Lu Jingli said. Lu Tingxiao turned a page without lifting his head. Brother, it's all your fault. You're too old-fashioned. I suggested putting a bug secretly, but you didn't allow it. Now, I can only stay at home and be anxious. Lu Jingli complained. Although at this moment, the only one anxious was himself. Finally, even Lu Tingxiao's patience couldn't stand his noise. Quiet, or go back. I won't go back. I still need to wait for Shishi to come back and interrogate her. Otherwise, how can I sleep tonight? Lu Jingli insisted. It's almost 11 o'clock. Why haven't they come back yet? Lu Jingli was so anxious that he scratched his head. His phone rang, showing an unfamiliar number. Who's calling me at this late hour? Lu Jingli picked up his phone and went to the yard to answer. 10 minutes later, Lu Jingli rushed in like he had taken chicken blood. Damn, brother, you won't believe what I just got. I actually managed to get the audio recording of Ningxi and Jiong Mai in their private room. I didn't do it. It was a gossip company's inexperienced paparazzo who secretly recorded it. Fortunately, their boss knew what was right and immediately intercepted it. They even came to me to apologize and make amends.